To have passion in life is everything.
What's your Everest?
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
that 200-inch buck?
They just look so impressive when they're wide.
Especially running away.
Welcome to this week's episode of Eastmans Elevated.
It's like a think tank for outdoor activity.
Sounds exactly like my hunting. Just always thinking about it, always trying to evolve it and make it better.
Here's your host, Brian Barney.
Hey, what's up, guys? New episode of Eastmans Elevated. So this week I have my buddy Dan Heavrin back on the podcast. So I just had him on a couple episodes ago, but he came down, was going to spend a few days with me bear hunting, and ended up harvesting a really nice color phase boar. So I've had this idea rolling around in my head that I want to mix in these episodes about successful bow hunts, along with having interviews with guests and talking hunting. But, you know, my original idea was to go on a 7, 8, 10-day hunt, whatever it is, and every night I'd record, 10, 15 minutes of what happened during the day, so I could record a hunt in real time and then do a wrap-up at the end and edit it all together and have that be an episode, of an elk hunt, of a deer hunt, or whatever it is. And so I really want to run that idea, but Dan was successful down here, and I thought, boy, I got to get Dan on the podcast right away. So I think, telling hunting stories is great, but when it's fresh, it's so exciting, and all the details are right there fresh in your mind. And so I wanted to have him on just right away after he harvested this thing. So he harvested the bear. We packed it out the next day, and then got him right on the mic to record this episode, and you can just hear the excitement in his voice. He is just thrilled. Dan lives and dies for hunting Western game with his bow, and he's harvested quite a few bears, but it's been a few years since he's got one, and he just practices nonstop, and all he thinks about, and so to see him be successful on a nice color phase boar is really cool, and you can just hear the buzz of excitement when he gets talking about it. So this is a really fun episode. I can't wait to see how it's received by you guys and how you guys like it, and to do more of these successful hunting stories mixed in the episode. So anyways, let me know what you guys think when you get all said and done. Today's sponsor is Zamberlan Boots. Zamberlan is just making some great boots. I just got 2 pairs in the mail, and I haven't taken them off since I've got them. They have this mid-height boot, and they have all different styles of boots, so whatever you're looking for as far as ankle support, weight, and they all run good Vibram sole treads on them, but they just have so many different models for every different hunter out there. But the one I really like is the low cut, like the mid-height, lightweight a boot they have. And I haven't taken these things off, and you guys that know me know that I like these lightweight boots, or I'll even do a running shoe because they're so lightweight. But since I got these, I haven't worn anything else. I'm just super psyched with them. Their research and development team just has their thumb right on the pulse of the market of what us guys are looking for in a boot, and they make a super high quality boot that I know is going to last. So really excited about these Zamberlan boots, and thank them for sponsoring the podcast. I really appreciate it. Over there at Eastmans, we've got this e-news, and I don't know if you guys know about it yet or not, but we do this e-news that sends out to different emails, and you can sign up to it by going to eastmans.com, and it's at the bottom. I'm signed up for it, and I think it's two times a month. I mean, give or take, they send out this e-newsletter, and this e-newsletter, Scott Reekers runs it, but he's got a whole new team of writers that he has writing articles for this e-newsletter, and so you kind of get some different writers than you see in the magazine, and some of the same writers. I know I write for the e-news and do them every once in a while, and so there's just some really good Western hunting articles that he puts in that are only in the e-news. It's the only place you can get them. They're not in the magazine. So I know the email comes through for me, and I go on there, and I'm always finding an article that I can read about. Eastmans does such a good job of knowing what us Western hunters want to read about and what interests us, and that goes out in every e-newsletter. So make sure you guys subscribe to that. It really is an asset for Western hunting. It's free. All you got to do is sign up at eastmans.com to get the newsletter. With that, let's get this thing rolling. Let Dan tell his story about this bear he harvested. Here we go. Eastmans Elevated, Dan Heavrin's bear story. Let's get this thing started.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Dan. He just headed down for a few days to hunt bears down here around the Madison Valley, and it's just heating up right now. And so you just made it down here yesterday, right?
Yep. Yesterday, kind of late morning or early, right around noon, I guess, kind of.
Yep, and gave me a shout, and my floors were still wet on my construction job, and so I kind of had the afternoon, and we kind of hung out and talked about a game plan for the evening, and I had to work in the evening, and then I could hunt the next few days.
Yep.
But you were going to go out in the evening by yourself. And I have to say, this is like the first evening I have missed hunting with you. Like anytime you show up, we're always hunting, we're always going, but
I'm always able to sneak you out of work somehow.
That's right. Yeah, I'll always ditch work to go hunting. But so anyways, I couldn't go. I had this deal I had to do. And so we kind of made a game plan and we talked about it. And I told you what I'd been seeing around here. And it's been a really good bear season so far. I've had 11 different sightings of bears, but they were all early down low in one of my low spots that's good. And then they kind of moved out of that low spot and started moving towards feed. And so I started to go up in elevation, and then I've struck out my last few times out. And I know it's getting good, it's getting green, but I had been hunting this mountain range, and I told you, and it's one of our favorite spots. There's 3 or 4 big drainages in there that we like to go to, and there's still more country to explore. I mean, the other night I went in there and walked some ridge and some meadow I'd never even been in. So I'd been hunting these spots, and then and we just talked last night. I said, well, so I'm early down here, and I've been hunting this mountain range and our favorite drainages. I haven't seen anything up there.
Striking out last few nights, yeah.
Yeah, I said I've seen a couple tracks, and I said, I think where it's hot is in this spot down here. Like, if it was me and I was going all in, like, this is the spot I'd be in. And I also gave you a warning that, first I told you to go down in that spot or whatever. We agreed to, and you hunt down here as much as I do and know as much about bears as I do. We have about the same days of field down here. But anyways, I told you with the current information and time out I've had that would be the spot to go. And so you rolled down there, but I told you to go to the spot, and I told you to go to this vantage point, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. We've been there before. We've been there actually a couple different times together before, but it's been a couple of years for me, living out of town anymore. I've been hunting like my local hell on the spots, and to be honest with you, the grass is better down here than it is where I'm living right now.
Oh, is it really?
Oh, it is, yeah. The grass here is freaking epic, actually. It's super green. At our elevation we're hunting at today, or the last couple of days, I mean, it's actually taller than what I've seen so far. So it's actually perfect timing right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the grass looks so good. I still have to look and see what the exact elevation is.
I'm curious to know what it actually was.
We kind of guessed at it coming out, but it'd be nice to know exactly what. I thought that was a tick crawling on me.
Are you reaching for it?
It is bear season, right? There's the ticks come out in the spring, and more so on the lower elevation. And we were just talking about 30 minutes, and we went and showered. We packed out the bear today, and so we went and showered, and I thought I had a tick crawling up my neck there.
We were just talking about it. Like I said, this spring I've been out several times whenever I can in the evenings or do a full day here and there, and I've actually picked off 8 so far.
Okay.
So, since I've been been here, about 2 days now, we found only one on the bear, which was really surprising. I didn't find any on myself, so that's actually a really good thing.
Yeah, well, and I think the ticks they're at an elevation, and it seems like the lower elevation they come out, and I know last year they were all over. Like, I almost had to stop hunting a spot because you'd find 20 of them on you in a day. But you go up in the higher elevation, and the bear I killed last year, there was no ticks on it. And so I think it's elevation based. And then also we had some good wet snowstorms that I think knocked them down too. So they're not bad around here at all.
No, that's good. Yeah, over I guess where I'm hunting out of Ennis, Helena, they're extremely bad right now. I mean, I just had them all over. And I've hunted all different kinds of elevations. I hunted the snow line, just trying to find out from the snow line. You never know. They might be hunting right below that. I found the lower elevations. I've tried finding the creek bottoms, and I guess apparently I'm just hunting ticks. I'm into the ticks big time this year.
Okay.
So it's kind of nice, a little reprieve from the ticks coming over here. So it was good.
Yeah, for sure. So I couldn't go out, and so you headed into that mountain range, and you'd been to the vantage point a couple times, like you said, and it's just this master vantage point that just shows you the world right there, and it's perfect right now. I've heard of a few sightings down there. There's tracks. They just seem to be out at that elevation, that mountain range. And so I told you, I said, well, head up there, head up to the vantage point, which is right.
Yeah, take a right.
Take a right.
Yeah.
And So Dan got up there, and the one thing I told him is I said, look up for the rock wall. You'll see your vantage point up there. You can see it appearing to you. So you drove up there. You saw the rock vantage point.
I saw the rock point outcropping. I'm like, there it is. It's like from the road when you're driving up there, you're like, I'm not going to walk up that freaking shale to get up to that thing. It's actually kind of a hidden vantage, really.
Yep.
It's a hard point to find. If you just kind of keep going up, gaining elevation. So I took kind of the opposite advice that you told me, or kind of the actual advice you told me in the whole scheme of the story.
Yes.
And ended up finding just a sweet vantage spot,
Yes.
What I thought was the one you were telling me.
Yeah, exactly. So you saw one that was left, the first like rock outcropping that appeared, and that's not the one I normally go to. I'm up a little bit higher and to the right, and we're really looking at the same feature there, but basically you were just down a little bit farther in the drainage and could see a lot of the same meadows, but it also opened up some of that lower half to you. So yeah, you found a sick vantage, which is really cool that there's a couple different options there now to look at. And in this spot, like there's a really good healthy population of bears in this spot. There is pressure. This is where everybody from this valley, everybody from out of state, it's where everybody bear hunts. Everybody knows to go there.
There's camps set up down low. There's wall tents set up. There's tents cut. There's campers. I mean, there's people driving the roads, of course. I mean, it's known for the freaking. That's where you go bear hunt.
Yep, and a bunch of G bears too.
Oh man, yeah. There's a few of those around.
Yep.
Guys need to plan a little bit further, a little bit smarter than what I planned for on this trip, but that's all right. It's just kind of an epic place. There's people crawling around. There's moose. There's just everything all over the place up there. So it's kind of cool. You just know it's going to be high pressured, but you get a high population. It doesn't really matter if it's high pressured or not. If you're seeing bears, who cares if there's hunters there? If there's people driving the road, 4-wheelers ripping around, motorcycles freaking creating dust everywhere. It doesn't matter. You just go where the bears are. We got some really money spots down lower, actually closer to what we would call home. And they're just not producing it right now.
Yep,
obviously,
exactly.
You've been hitting it day in and day out. And they're just not quite producing. And they will. I guarantee you, they will.
They will. Yep.
But you just go where the bears are.
Yep.
Obviously. You go to where you're seeing them.
Yep.
I heard some stories. Yeah, people are getting into it here. It's like, well, my places aren't working out. Your places aren't working out. Let's just move it. I mean, we both have that vantage point we have. I think it's actually kind of a secret little vantage point. I don't think a whole lot of people know about it, and it's just right off the road.
Well,
it's a ways off, but
nobody hunts it like we hunt it. Like they hunt that place, and like you say, it's higher pressure. And maybe there's some guys doing some hikes here and there, but a lot of the guys are driving the road back and forth, and they are seeing bears. And right now they're getting sightings down there, and it's just the right elevation, and it's just full of bears. And where bears show up, they don't den in the same spots from year to year. They'll den in different spots in different locations. And I think some falls, the weather dictates where they den at, and then that's where we're seeing them in the springtime, where they're coming out and where they're traveling. So this could just be a good year down there. And like you say, our other spots and our other mountain ranges are going to heat up, and I think they're just a touch higher in elevation. Like maybe they match elevation at their lowest point and at the other spot's highest point. But
which is weird because it's like way downriver from like what you would think. It's just like I know it's like lower elevation, but where we like to hunt a little bit higher. It seems like we always used to chase what I think you and I talked about a lot, chasing that mountain flower that always followed the snow line up. It used to be so epic that way. Yep. But it changes every single year.
Every bear year is different.
All the time.
Exactly.
And you think you have it figured out one year. I mean, we used to kind of compare numbers. I mean, I remember actually legitimately having 56 sightings in a year. That was a few years ago. But I have 56 bear sightings in a year.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty good.
I remember, and now our seasons, and we're still seeing quite a few bears, but they definitely dropped off in places, or it's just different. You got to catch the right season, and then you got to kind of. I did this podcast the other night, and he talked about vibing the elk, but you kind of got to vibe the bears too. You got to figure out what they're doing that time of year, what elevation they're at, and just like we were talking about, I told you I had struck out a few times in these spots that we really like, and I had been down there. I'd hunted that spot quite a bit. I've hunted a couple times with you, but I probably got a dozen days down in there, and it's a good spot. But yeah, this year there's bears walking around down there. So I told you to go right, and you went left. Yeah. But I also told you to do the opposite of whatever I did, because
you gave me the advice on kind of where to go. This is definitely where I would go. But you should take a right. Get up there, park your truck, and then go off for a good hike and get out of there, take a right. And then it was like a couple minutes later, hanging out on the deck trying to figure out a plan. Well, actually, you should probably do the opposite of what I tell you, but this is definitely what I would do. It's like, oh, I see how this is playing out.
Well, I like to put the ball back in your court.
Yeah. It's on you, guys.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, like I say, I'd struck out the last few nights, and so you kind of feel like, well, whatever I'm doing's not working. Do the opposite of what I tell you. But yeah, so I told you to go right, you went left. Pretty much looking at the same country down in that same mountain range, but you found another really killer vantage down there. And then, so you hiked to the vantage last night, left here. I had to do that work I had. And then what time you get to the vantage?
I don't even remember what time I left here. It was actually pretty late. It was more like 5:30, so I got up there around 6:30, 6:45 by the time I actually got up there.
Yeah. It takes a while, right, to drive or to hike on those mountain roads and stuff?
Yeah, it takes a while. And I haven't been in there for a few years, so it was more like everything's kind of coming back to me. And it looks good coming in there. So you don't want to just race to your spot. You're actually you're excited to see all this country coming in, and you don't know where people have been hiking, where things are. And then, I mean, there's just sweet places just right off the road that you're kind of glass, and you kind of get sucked into that, like, oh, there's a little chute, I better glass it real quick. So you stop like 15 times on the way up to your vantage point to glass these little chutes which if you just go up to your vantage point, you're going to see them all anyways, but it's just too hard not to just to look on your way up.
Well, I think that's a big key, and bow hunting is so tough, and bow hunting these bears, and it's an open rifle season right now, a general rifle season in Montana. Anybody can get a tag, and we choose to be out in hunter orange and be using our bow, and not to put a feather in our cap, but it is more difficult. But we've just found this thrill in chasing bears and getting up close. And like, I shot a bear with a rifle when I was younger, and it was like, well, I have a bear, I don't really need to hunt bears anymore. And that's not the right attitude. But then I started hunting them with my bow, and the challenge and how tough it was. And you're hunting dangerous game with your bow.
Well, yeah, you're hunting a predator with your bow, and you have a sharp stick in your hand, and you have to get so much closer. I mean, rifle guys, they get to sit back and glass one and get close enough. Mm-hmm. Well, close enough for a rifle anymore is how far. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, people can shoot these days,
Yep.
And so, which is great, which is fine. But I mean, I don't know. I think where it's at is like actually hunting a bear with your bow, getting in close, spotting them, stalking them. I mean, we don't get to call them, we don't get to bait them, we don't get to do any of that.
Yes.
So it's like you see them out where they're truly living, where they're truly feeding, everything. And you gotta sneak in there. Like I've always told you for years now, if you think he smelled you, you think he got your wind, he did.
Absolutely.
It's just over with.
Yeah.
So you just punish yourself day in and day out. You're getting stalks, you're getting plays, you're seeing bears. But you just, it's just so frustrating, but it's so fun to get in there and get in tight.
Yep. And I think you should start off with a rifle. Like, I think to hunt them with archery gear, like, sometimes you're setting yourself up for failure. Like, it is one of the toughest things out there. Like, I just give so much respect to a spot and stalk, bear with your bow on public land. It is just crazy tough because they're predators. You don't see as many of them. And so to kill one with your bow, you have to find more than the average guy, and not that a rifle guy kills every bear he sees, but, you can see less of them and then make those encounters count, where a bow, you really have to get a lot of stalks on that animal. And that's true for any species, whether it's elk or mule deer. You have to find those bucks and those bulls and those boars and give yourself chances. And so to be successful with your bow, you have to find so many more of them and get those opportunities. It seems like
you need many opportunities. It needs to really just stack up and go right for you.
Yes.
And it's so hard to actually get it to go right for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to be out day in and day out all the time. I mean, you're all constantly out there putting yourself in the position to just find one, let alone get a stalk.
Yep.
How many times have we seen a bear and it's like by the time we see it, A, it's too late. B, the wind's totally wrong, and we don't have time to go frickin' 6 miles around to get the wind right on. I mean, there's so many things, so many variables at play. Down to wind, terrain, where he's at, what river you have to cross to get to him. I mean, you never know how that goes.
For sure.
It's just so hard. It's all got to come together, and when it does stack up right, it's just incredible.
Yes.
It's the best feeling in the world. I mean, you got one tag in your pocket this time of year, which I love that. Because I have one thing to focus on. I don't have mule deer and elk and antelope on my mind. I actually have just one tag in my pocket, and I'm just going for that. And it's just epic. It's so cool getting on the spring. It's neon green, which is just my favorite. It smells good. There's still snow. Water's running high. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, and you got to kind of embrace the experience and the adventure, because you're gonna spend days where you don't see bears. And I kind of average about a bear a day towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
But like I say, I blanked the last few times out, and so I'm due. I got to start seeing some more bears. But so we talk about the spot. I tell you go right, you go left, which perfect. So you go left and you find this outcropping with pretty much looking at that same benchy country. And so you get out there for the evening look, which is always been our best look is the evening. If you got a chance, you save your time for the evening. So you got out to the vantage point, right?
Yeah, went through this little opening, took my time going through the opening. Haven't been there for a while. Obviously, I did not see any tracks. Didn't seem like there's any pressure up there. So going just to get to my vantage point was actually some really good bear terrain. So I took my time getting through there, little trail through the trees there, and a couple little good grass up there, some openings. Finally get to the spot where I want to sit down, and it was awesome. Just beautiful evening. I mean, calm wind. I mean, trucks driving down below you, but it was beautiful.
Well, and you can see so well.
Well, that's just it. You get up there high, and it just opens up to you. And it just opens up. I mean, you just feel like, instead of just looking on my way in, like I told you, I kept stopping. I kept looking at this little chute, which, it might be 60 yards wide by 300 yards tall. I mean, which is great. You're seeing this little opening where you think bear's going to live. But now all of a sudden, I just got to the vantage point. I'm looking over, I mean, maybe a mile or more of just country across from me. Way more.
Multiple miles and benchy little green meadows,
and you're above it, so you can actually you can see the top of the trees, and you actually see down into the trees, which you're not ever going to get that driving the road.
No,
you're going to see the little shoots like I told you I was seeing. Get up there high, you're actually seeing down into the trees, which opens it up even more. So you get to see 10 times more country, if not more. Little shoots, little here and there. You can look at the same elevation you're at. Plus, you get to hunt the meadows that you're sitting in. I mean, it just worked out great.
Well, and those bears, like you'll see them out in those meadows, but it's wild. Even when you know a bear's there and you've spotted a bear, like he's just in and out of cover, and sometimes you can't see him for 20 minutes. Yeah. Sometimes you can't see him for 5 minutes. He'll just be behind trees or in brush or in the timber, and then he'll poke out again. And so, when you're driving these and looking up at every little sliver, you're not seeing the whole picture for sure, but you're also just seeing a little piece for a little sliver of time, to where when you get on the master vantage, you look over all that country, all those little slivers, and then all the benchy meadows. You can see more of it, and you can see everything they can see, but then you're sitting there monitoring it. Yep. You're like waiting for them to come out feeding. And it's just when you can believe in glassing and hunting in that glassing style, you just start to see what game really lives there, whether it's mule deer, elk, or bear. Yep. And so that's kind of the laws we live by, is we love to find the master vantage and just look at it. And don't get me wrong, I still hunt, and I hunt bottoms, and we talked about that, but our best opportunity to kill things, it's to see it.
Yeah. Plus, that's where you get your numbers at. You actually get to see what actually lives there, whether, deer, elk, moose, whatever's in that country, which is awesome. But you get to just, when you're walking up a bottom of a draw, or walking up, the low part, like we do. We walk those drainages. I mean, you're getting like one sighting, which is awesome. You're on a bear. I mean, it only takes one bear. We said that a million times. It takes one bear. But you get to see, when you're up high on a vantage, I mean, we've had days where we've actually sat there, if I remember right, I mean, we've seen like 5, 7, maybe even 10 bears from one vantage point.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, all right, so then you play the odds game. Or you're picking, you like, I want that color phase, or that one, that's the one I want to go for. That's the biggest one I see. I mean, from this distance, I really think that one's a boar. I really want to go after that. I mean, but you get to play the odds. You get to kind of be pick and choosy. I mean, which one's closer, or which one's in the right place. Or like later in the season when these boars are moving, you can catch a bear going through the trees, and it's just like, all right, I got to sit here and watch where he's going, or you're going to lose track of him. It's still early right now, so I don't feel like they're really moving through country. They're kind of living. Where if you see one up high, they're living in that little feature or around that feature. The trees around those features that you get to see, those little grassy parks, they're living around that. And that's what kind of happened to me. I get up to the vantage point, just beautiful country. I'm just getting up there, taking my backpack off, just kind of getting set up. I want to set the scope up, and I look down, and I see 2 bull moose. Just awesome, I mean, they kind of stick out walking through. So, try to click off a couple pictures of those. And just look up and kind of get into the aspens and kind of the open grass and just the really cool, epic, what I would call bear terrain. Like that's where it's
It looks so good in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I'm just glassing. I mean, I'm glassing for just literally just a couple of minutes. And all of a sudden, there's one. There it is. He's right there. And so you pull out the spot and scope, get set up on him, really have a look at him, see what he's doing. And he was just living. He was moving around, but he was like, he was moving around like circling. Like he would go down a draw a little bit, and he would come back up and graze around. And
Moving in feet, right?
Yeah, moving in feet.
Yep.
So, but he wasn't like head up moving country. He was like head down, just kind of being a bear.
Right,
Just,
what you want.
yeah, just kind of just being there. He's like in his little home right there, and just no, you could not see it from any other place.
Mhm.
The little spot. I mean, it was the only place you could see it was from the vantage point. I mean, he was just living in there. He's probably been in there for a week or more, just living in that spot. So it was actually pretty cool. So then you get into the like, all right, what time is it? I don't really remember. It was late. It was later. I can't remember. I probably got up there at 6:37, around 7:15 ish, and it gets dark at what 8:30.
Yes.
I mean, so that's not a lot of time, and he's a long ways away from me. I mean, I've got 60 power scope. I'm zoomed in all the way, trying to get a good look at him, see what he actually was, make sure there's no cubs around. I mean, make sure he's just solo bear. And so it's like you gotta, I'm here for a few days, so it's going through your mind. It's like, all right, I got one sighted, so what do you do? I got one sighted. All right, cool. So I know there's a bear living here, so I got all day tomorrow to make a play. That went through my mind. It really did. Getting later in the evening. But I just was like, you know what? There's a great bear. It's a color phase I'm really going for. It's really the one I really wanted, seriously. And so it's like, all right, well, load up all your shit real quick, get back, and then, go all the way back down, lose all this elevation you just worked your ass off trying to get, run all the way down to the bottom, get across, and then try to remember. You get on the other side. Well, I don't know if you guys have done this, but you get on the other side, and all of a sudden you're there, you're getting close, but everything looks different.
Man, everything looks different when you get over
Yeah,
there. And back to what you were saying on that bear, it's like when you find the one you want, and I know I've said buck, bull, or bear, but it really is when you find what you're looking for, and if it's a mature boar, like if there's a chance to harvest it and a chance where you think you can get it and it's a mature boar, you got to send it. You got to go for it.
Yeah.
Like you're never going to kill him, not out there, not going for him. I mean, you could always kill one off the vantage, I guess, but you got to go for him and send it and see how close you can get. So you got over there, got on the other side. Looks totally different like it always does, right?
Yeah.
It looks small when you're looking from the other side, and it opens up to you, and you're looking with the grain of country, and you can just see everything, and it looks simple. It looks like there's no way I could lose that bear. I know exactly where he's at.
Well, we've done this so many times. We've always got over this. We've always been like, oh, this is different, or you come up the wrong drainage. You think you got it right, like there's whatever tree or rocks that you're still seeing the same thing what you think. It's going to look a little bit different. How many times has this happened to us? Now I'm getting in the habit of really, like, before I leave, like, hey, all right, there's 1, 2, 3 draws. I got to get past the third one. I got to round the corner. Hopefully it's not too brushy or tree. I got to go up that one. If my wind's right.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to play that.
Yes.
If the wind is wrong, well, then maybe you have to go past him and then go up on the backside and come back. And you have no idea what that looks like. Or you got to come up in front of them and get up high. I mean, you just got to get the wind right. So I had like 3 different ideas in my mind. I was like, all right, I can just come up the bottom. It's getting later in the evening. My thermals are starting to change. I'm thinking by the time I actually get all the way over there, I probably do have good thermals. I could probably come up from the bottom of them. But then if you come up straight from the bottom of them, there's no way you can see them until you get on him. And I don't like
Yes,
that.
that's not a good approach.
That's
and,
not.
And
that lowers your odds.
He's got a better
crazy.
angle on you coming up and making noise. I don't like that either.
I don't like it either. I mean,
so that was your one plan. Well, and with the downhill thermal, sometimes there's no choice. You got to play the wind.
But plus, if I knew the drainage I needed to be in, so if I could get to that one, it was kind of like the shortest route. I mean, this high mountain hunting, you go up a ridge, you got to go back down one, you got to go back up one, you got to go back down one. I mean,
right.
you're going for it, and I'm stressed for time. I'm gonna have to get there, and you don't want the bear to be. I mean, a bear can travel how far in an hour? I mean, a long way.
I think about 100 miles, if I'm right.
Yeah, so you're trying to, like, all right, this is where he's at. He's not spooked. He's just head down grazing. He is moving around, so I kind of know where he was pointed when I left, so I kind of think I know where he's headed.
Yeah, yes.
So, yeah, I didn't really want to take the approach. My number one approach was actually to come up on the higher ridge next to him, beside him. That was my goal. If I can get up on that one, not only I think my wind's going to be completely correct, and my noise will be covered. I'm far enough away from him on the backside of another hill that there's no way you can hear me. I mean, I'm running up this. I went super light. I dropped the spot scope and the bipod pod off, and I went super light, as light as I could possibly go. And I'm racing up this hill trying to get there. So I'm far enough away from him. I know I don't have to worry about noise. I really don't have to worry about wind. And my goal was to get up next to him, get to the same elevation of the last place I saw him, and then just totally shut it down and glass. See if I can just pick him out.
So this is important because your approach here, he was out in this meadow and you saw him and he was kind of feeding into the draw.
Yep.
And so you figured instead of coming right below him, I'm going to come up the ridge next to him.
I feel like the opposing one. Like,
exactly. And so you're going to go up this opposing ridge. And so you're up the one that's just to the side of him or just to the south of him or whatever that direction is. And then you can glass this open park where you've seen this bear. And so you're not running right in on him trying to kill him right there. You're trying to relocate him again. You're trying to find him again. And so you work up this draw, you find the meadow where the bear's at, and you can't find him up this big feeding feature, right?
Yeah, but I know I'm in the correct elevation. I know where he was. I see everything that I saw finally. It started looking natural.
You knew where you were at again.
Like,
yes, okay.
I feel like this is where he was.
Well, you went the long way in. You'd never made an approach on that other hillside.
No, never.
And you just don't know country until you get in there. And so you just took the direct approach. You got crossed crossed down through the bottom, and then you just went up, and then you kind of came at him, but you kind of took the long way to him. Yep. But that's a good thing because your approach led you to this ridge where you could glass the opening where he was at.
Yeah, so I got up there and I'm glassing. I'm really taking my time. I'm a ways away from him. I mean, I'm not even close to bow range away from him. I would call it rifle range away from him. That's how far.
Yes, trying to relocate him.
Yeah. Yep. So I got my distance. I'm playing the wind. I'm doing the wind check. I'm just kind of figuring out where I'm at. He's not where I last saw him, but I know the direction where I thought he was headed. He was like when I first saw him, he was quite a bit lower in this park. And so, he was wandering around, like doing circles, going down, sitting down, getting up. I mean, he was just living, just being bear. And so he was kind of moving down, and then all of a sudden he turned and he started coming up, through this big opening. And so, but if you back up and you look at his true direction, if you drew a line from point A from when I first saw him to point B the last time I saw him, I mean, this is the angle he was going at, and it was up the draw. And so my mind was, okay, get even more elevation to see if I can cut him off.
So he was coming towards your ridge into the bottom of that draw. And so you took his last direction, and now you don't have your hunting buddy on the vantage point to flag you in. So you just disappear from the vantage point, and you lose sight for 40 minutes or an hour, but you got no choice when you're solo. You just got to send it over there and see if you can get close.
Yeah, and to back up, I got over there. I got across the road. I got across everything I needed to get to, and I was like, all right, I was trying to count the draws, and I just wasn't sure. When you get so much lower, you lose all that elevation. And I'm looking up, and I'm like, well, that's a draw too. And it's like, I don't remember that draw being right there. But it might just be a little finger draw at the very end of this little knob, and you're not really sure. It all looks the same. I was super fortunate because remember I was telling you about I saw those two bull moose come out.
Yes.
Well, they kept working their way down the ridge, and I was like, man, if I can just get on the next draw from them, and that would put me in between the moose that I'm not going to spook if I get on the right draw, and the draw away from the bear. So if that's the one I wanted to get, so I'm not spooking any animals while I'm going because you might spook right into your bear.
Spook a moose into your bear.
So I wasn't quite 100% sure, so I slowed way up and I just kind of gave it a few minutes, and I just looking around trying to glass, get up on this little knob so I have a little bit of elevation so I can kind of look back at my vantage point. So like, man, I remember it being like really directional from that rock I was sitting on. I was fortunate enough those moose actually fed down out of that draw.
Oh, nice.
So I'm like, perfect. That's the draw. So that's the one I need to stay out of. This is the one that I actually, accidentally walked up, or I kind of had a feeling. So I just knew I was money. I knew I was in the right direction. I knew where I was actually.
Reaffirm that you knew that you were on the right direction.
That's the best feeling.
Yes.
You don't want to be like, you don't want to come up the 3 draws over from the bear and go, oh man, I'm still half a mile as a crow flies away from him.
Yeah, or not even know where you're at. Sometimes you get over on the other side hill and it's like, well, I knew the bear was in this meadow that looked like this, but I can't find anything like this. Like, I don't even know if I'm on the right ridge. And so, to reaffirm you're on the right spot, you're looking at the right country for this bear, and so you're trying to relocate this bear.
Yep.
And now, like you talked about your pace, and so your pace from when you left the vantage point to where you are now to where you can see the feature was screaming.
Was just sprinting.
Yeah, you have to go for it. You have to get there in the shortest amount of time so you can relocate that bear and have a chance. But now you're starting to really slow down and look at every feature and trying to find that thing.
Yeah, so I'm up there. I'm not seeing him. I know I'm in the right spot. And where I wanted to do was just kind of gain a little bit of elevation and try to cut him off. But my problem with that was is I started getting into deadfall, and you know how much deadfall slows a guy up, and how much noise, how loud it is. I mean,
Absolutely.
if you're trying to jog through deadfall, you're going to be breaking branches, and tripping over things, and dropping your bow. I mean, it's just
not
mess.
a bear for miles.
So I was like, all right, that's not going to work. I'm going to make way too much noise. That's just not going to work. If he feeds into it, it just is what it is. Maybe he's living there, you know. And so I go over this ridge, and all of a sudden, like, I'm seeing things that I never even saw from the vantage point, which is awesome. But
it opens up once you get in there. We were in there today. Yeah, on the retrieval. But man, there is some awesome country in there. So, you can't see everything from a vantage point, and you got to know that when you're sitting on a vantage point too. Is that you're looking at it?
There's hidden features.
Exactly.
There's definitely hidden features.
Yeah, you can't. You're not seeing 100% of the game when you're on the vantage point. And you have to realize that. Like, you want to see what you're looking for, and you're hoping they're moving around. But you don't see them all, you know, from one sitting on a vantage point. But yeah, there's a bunch of killer features in there that you didn't know, and now you're looking for this bear just everywhere through all these openings and parks.
You're looking for the bear that you want, but now all of a sudden, now you're seeing country that looks just sick for bears. Just like that's where you want to be. So now you're trying to hustle, but now you just found another feature that I'm a glasser. I love to glass, so I'm just like, shit, I gotta glass this. I can't just bust through it and get to that bear. I gotta glass this first. So you just did that, you know, try to take my time as much as I could, you know, glass a section of it, and all right, I can gain another 200 yards, and then you just sprint for it. You get to that 200 yards, you do another little glass. You're trying to be quiet, but your pace is high. You know, I mean, you're moving, trying to get to somewhere, but at the same time, you're trying to be patient. That's a hard game to play. So anyways, I knew, all right, I can't go up where I thought he was headed because of the deadfall, and if the angle was weird, it just wasn't going to work out. I just knew once I got up there, there's no way I could see out of that timber. So I'm like, that's just not what I want to do. So it's like, all right, well, why not just go to where he was? I know my thermals are right. Go to where he was and just look at it and look up where the bear was walking, and just kind of see what you think he would do. You know, follow the grass, look at what he wants to do, follow the shade,
the flow of the land.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
You know, you just kind of pick it apart. So you're kind of like, be the bear for a second, like, oh, that looks kind of cool. Go wander over there. Maybe he's living in that deadfall over there. That's his like a little hiding spot.
Yes.
So you didn't want to tromp through where he's actually going or where he's living.
But you've made all this effort to get over there, and even though you can't see him in the feeding feature, like, you can back out of a spot, but you kind of play the wind and just see if you can make something happen in there and find him.
If you haven't spooked him by now and you got good wind, why not continue?
Yeah, well, and so now you're still hunting, but you're still hunting where you know there's a bear.
Yeah.
So it's not like blind still hunting.
Yep.
You're still hunting where you just saw a big chocolate bear, a big chocolate boar you want to shoot, and now you're just playing the wind and still hunting and starting to tiptoe through the forest really looking for this bear.
Yeah, so when you get up to where you know he was, trust me, you go to like silent mode, like tiptoe mode, because you know he was just here like 45 minutes ago or an hour ago. He was just here. So he's not that far.
Mm-hmm.
So then, I mean, you can't see it. The feature just wasn't quite what I thought it was when I got over there. I mean, you could see up to 80 to 100 yards. It was open enough you could see that. And so you're glassing into the big timber, you're glassing into the deadfall, you're just kind of taking your time, looking for movement, looking for what's going on, and just nothing. You know, I gave that a few minutes, and it's like, all right, he was headed this way.
So it's important to glass that timber in openings as you're moving through. So you're moving really slow, you're taking 3, 4, 5 steps, and then you're glassing everything that you can see. And anytime any new features open up, you're just glassing it. And you're not glassing hundreds of yards, you're glassing 100 yards or less. And you're just looking through the timber and trying to relocate this thing.
You're looking for fur or whatever is moving. It's hard. So, you know, when bears are living and they're just being bears, they're just chilling, they're not on the move, they move slow. Bears are not like, they're not jumpy by any means. They're just kind of moving, and they can sit down for 15, 20 minutes and just kind of look around and not really move, you know. And for some reason, they hide so well by just slowing themselves down, and they're just kind of head down. You know, they're not really all that tall. I mean, the grass, the sagebrush, the deadfall can cover a bear so easy. So you're really just meticulous about your glassing. You just know, I mean, you can't just take off walking. For me, it never works. I can't just walk into something and find the bear before he sees me. He's always going to pick me out way before I pick him out.
Yes.
So I know that going into it, you know, and I was like, you know, in the back of my mind this whole time, it's like, I got a good bear and I know he's living here and it's getting late. But it's like, all right, I got a great wind. I'm super quiet. The ground's super green. It's just a little moist. So, I mean, your footsteps, you can't even hear yourself walk. That's how good it is. So you just like, what the heck? I'm here. I just busted my ass to get up here. I'm going to go for it.
Yes.
So you just start sneaking through this timber, you know, and I always try to stay up just a little bit higher. I try to stay off the what I would say like a ridge. I start to stay off that so I don't get the the ridge, the silhouette on top of
Yeah,
the
the
ridge.
skyline.
Yeah, you stay off that.
Because you can see skyline from miles, and movement really picks up good on the skyline. Like your backdrop, it just shows anything that you do up there. So I'm with you.
So you go up high because you want to be able to. The higher you are, for me, you can kind of glass down in. If you can glass down into trees, it opens it up. If you're glassing you're at the same elevation of trees and you're looking into the trees, you don't get to see everything. But if you somehow get above the deadfall and you're looking down into it, you can actually see just a few more features and stuff into it. And so it's like, all right, just going like super like sloth movements, just kind of just tiptoeing in, going for it, and just kind of working my way up and around. I got into this really thick. It wasn't thick. It was bigger timber. It was actually kind of...
It was open timber.
Yeah, it was open timber.
Yeah, and it was right above the feeding feature that you'd seen this bear. And the feeding feature, like how long was that thing? It was pretty long.
It was big.
300 yards? 400 yards?
Yeah, I would say all of it.
400 yards, 500 yards, and then maybe 100 yards wide. And it was just a big green park that kind of... going up this ridge or whatever. So you're at the top of that. You roll in the timber. You're trying to flow through country. Yeah. You're tiptoeing through.
And I'm going the direction. I'm skirting what he walked.
Oops, sorry.
Drop it.
Boy, I just dropped the volume control on the mics there. I kicked it with my leg. So sorry if I deafened you.
So it's like I don't want to be right where he walked. Because you know how that is. I mean, he could just be right over this little knob you don't see. You don't want to just walk right into it.
So you're trying to walk above where he walked?
So I give myself a little bit of distance so I can kind of look down and maybe my thought was I'll be a little bit above him. So, I mean, they don't really like to just like stop and look uphill all the time. They like to kind of more so they look down more and they look in
same
front of
elevation
them.
and down. Yep.
Yeah, they don't really turn and look uphill all the time.
It's just any animals, like approaching from above always seems to be the best if you can get that wind right.
So I didn't really have his tracks, but I really did know. I mean, I grabbed my phone, I snapped some pictures of where he was before I left.
Oh, good.
Which is always good.
That's so smart.
You know, zoom in on the pictures. I'm like, all right, that tree is that tree. You know, that's the same tree that's matching my photo. So all right, perfect. That's my marker. I want to be above that because he walked literally. He like rubbed that tree right below it. So I picked that out. So I'm really feeling good. Getting to that bigger open timber, and I get in there and I just totally slow down. You know, those pine needles, a little bit of deadfall here and there, just totally slow down. And I'm just kind of going up on this top of the feeding feature and in these trees, and I just know he's there. He's living. So he's not like he didn't bust out of country. My wind's been good this whole time. He's here. So my thought was just totally slow down. So I just stopped. And I would glass and just look around me and just constantly just pan back and forth and just look and look and look and look. And just take a few more steps. And all of a sudden there's something I haven't seen, but you know, and it's all okay, and I gotta stop, I gotta glass that now. And then I was just kind of getting kind of discouraged, and I get up a little bit higher and I'm just standing there and I'm looking down below me in the deadfall, and I'm looking over, and all of a sudden just like through this like twin trees like side by side of this little opening, all of a sudden he lifts his head. And he's just kind of like, he lifts his head and he looks completely the opposite direction of me. And he just kind of moves around and then puts his head back down. And he was actually putting his nose down on the dirt. And so he was like just laying on his belly, just sprawled out. And he was just like, there was 3 trees or 4 trees right there. And he was right in the middle of them. Mm-hmm. And he was just like super comfy spot, like pine needles. You know how soft that is, like that dirt and the pine needles. And he's just kind of like making a little home right there. And he's just chilling. He's just being a bear. And so I sit there and I watch and I get a range. And I'm like already at like 120, 130 yards away. Not that far. I mean, that's pretty close. You know?
Yes.
I mean, that's a big bear, big old head. That's a predator, you know. So it's like, all right. So then you're taking it real serious now. Yeah. And so it's like.
Well, in hunting predators, you got to be a little bit more cautious. It's a different type of stalk when he can bite back.
Oh, yeah.
It's like there's recourse for your actions. He isn't, you know, and most bears run off, but they all have different personalities. And I think it's important too, like instincts just play such a huge role in being successful. And just like this, spotted this bear, you got over there, and then you just kind of let your instincts take over, and you were just still hunting through there. And
I knew he was there. He was there.
He was there
he
somewhere.
Didn't leave.
Yep. And where you walked and where you shot that bear on that benchy little spot where you told me you shot him and found him right in there. Boy, that looks like a bear spot, and it's right above the feeding feature.
Yeah.
And so you caught him bedded in there, which is just crazy. And so you had a range on him, 120 yards or something like that.
It was closer to 100 yards. And I couldn't actually range him. I could range the tree that he was leaned up against. Okay. You know. And so I just watched him for a second. I just tried feeling it out. I checked my wind again. I knew my wind was good. Just checked it again just to make sure, you know, if I got to move quick or what do I got to do, back out, whatever. Anyways, So I just watched him because it's kind of cool. Because you got to remember, when I was on my glassing, my vantage point, I was only there for 5 minutes and I saw a bear. So it's like you take a couple minutes to take a photo here, but I really didn't get to like study him and actually get to know him, like get to see what he actually did.
That is the best, by the way, when you show up at a vantage point and there's a bear sitting out there.
He's just waiting for me, you know?
Yeah.
Well, you look at the country, it's like, man, that looks so buried. Oh, what's that? Oh, yeah, look, it's a bear. It's like, that's just the way it's supposed to be.
That is.
And so it's like, yeah, I got to take a minute to myself. I got to watch him. So I'm looking through my binoculars.
That's part of the thrill too, is being close to him.
Yeah.
Like that. Those are the thrilling encounters. That's why we spend so many days and put so many miles in and hours on the vantage, is to get that close encounter where you're at right now, looking through your binos at that bear.
You're like, next to him.
Your heart's beating out of your chest, and just the only thing you can think of is how you're going to get in. But good. So you're studying that bear. You're really looking at him closer because you've got a closer. Now you're within 100 yards of him, so you can really judge him up. And
So before I made some really killer stalks on some bears that went out in the feeding feature, and they looked like a big body bear, but you weren't really getting.
Sometimes their proportions are of a big bear, but they're actually a small bear. So you do have to study them, even though their proportions right. You know it's a boar, and he's fat and he's chubby and he's got a big belly and a big chest. Like sometimes you look at him and go, yeah, he's got a big belly, big chest, but that's a small bear. It's just got the right proportion. So I see what you're studying the bear, making sure it's not a small one or a sow or something like that.
Exactly. Because I was saying,
and you're getting that thrilling encounter that you're looking for.
It's going through. You got adrenaline going.
Yes.
But it's like I've had bears where I made a stalk down on them, and they went and fed by themselves, and they're hanging out and they're feeding, and they go back in, and then all of a sudden you get in on them, and you're getting close, and you're glassing. And all of a sudden you see this little fur ball that walk around this tree in front of that bear, and you're like, oh, all right, it's a sow, you know. So you just, you look at it, and then you just start backing out, you know. So I just wanted to just double check, triple check, look at his ears, look at his head, really try to see what he really was, and then I just instantly, I mean, he didn't ever turn in my direction, which was odd. I mean, he never really looked in my direction. I got like quarter turn of the head, so I could see the distance of his ears. I could tell his ears were rounded; they weren't like pointed ears, and they were like more on the side of his head, not like on the top of his head. You know, so I got a really good look at him.
They were pointed because it's a black bear, but they weren't like these huge pointed German Shepherd ears on them. You could tell that the size was smaller of the ears, which meant he had a bigger head. So you're judging.
You're looking for the pumpkin.
Ears are the best tell too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if they have really big ears and they're, and you say really pointed, they're all kind of pointed. But if they're really pointed and big Dumbo German Shepherd ears, it's a small bear. Where, if they're smaller, then
but it makes them look more rounded. They're smaller head because it almost like a boar. The ears almost kind of go down on the sides of their head a little bit more.
Yeah,
they do.
For sure.
There's a distance. There's like the full hand. Thumb and pinky out distance between the ears.
Yes, okay.
So you got to study that. You got to study everything you study. I mean, obviously, I knew it wasn't a grizz from the moment I saw him because of how they're shaped. I mean, I knew it was a blackie, so I'm all good there. So just make sure he's a boar, So I'm checking his shoulders. I'm looking at all the lines. I'm looking at his head, and then all of a sudden he just plops down, rolls on his side, and he rolls upside down, and he's just looking straight up at the sky. And I'm like, I was like, all right, well, I got to take another minute and watch this guy. He's just looking up at the air, he's just being a bear, he's just living, just not a worry in the world. He just knows he's the predator.
Cool.
And that was pretty cool. And I'm thinking about, it's like, man, you got a great bear that you want to kill right there, and he's just goofing off. A guy should be moving, gaining some distance on it. So it's like, all right, the hunting instinct started kicking in. I was like, all right, he's just being a bear. He's cool to watch. I could watch him all day. He was freaking cool. So it's like, all right, man, I got some big trees here, and then I can get to that tree. I can get to that tree.
So you're sticking the trees in between you and the bear?
Yeah. So what I do is I make myself a skinny profile. I don't walk with a bow on the side like I usually, like I'm traveling through country, my bow's down low on the side, and you go around a corner, you turn, your bow kind of sticks out, and you can see my fletchings and stuff. When I'm in tight and I got the tree between me and the bear, I keep the bow right in front of me.
Oh, that's a good tip. So you're keeping, what'd you say, a skinny profile? That sounds like a good diet, but a skinny profile, and that way you don't have any edges of you sticking out outside of the edge of the tree.
I'm so close. I know bears probably don't have the best sight, but they're going to pick up on movement.
Oh, yeah. They see movement big time.
So if you make yourself skinny, and if you can't see that bear that's great. In your mind, you're like, if I can't see him, he can't see me. Well,
Which is mostly true, but
mostly true. But if he just turns his head a little bit, I mean, I don't know.
he can see your arm on the outside of the tree, or your bow is what you're talking about.
My fletchings on my bow, or the cam sticking out.
Totally makes sense.
Just some sort of like, and I'm trying to get up ground. I'm trying to move. And when a human's
I like that. I stalk with you all the time. I never noticed that, but I like that, the skinny profile. That's a great tip.
Like we hunt bulls all the time. We're hunting bulls. You keep that bow in front of your face because it breaks up your facial features. It breaks. You just use what you have to mix it up.
Yes.
So, anyways, I'm going up to the trees. I'm keeping trees in between him and me, and they're big. I don't know what
big fir trees.
Yeah, big fir trees. And they're nice.
Big fir Montana, but they're a couple of foot in diameter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So that's plenty enough to hide me. I get that's fine. I'm not a big guy, so get the bow in front of me, and I'm starting to move in close. I just know I just picked up 20 yards. All right, knowing that, while I'm skinny profile, I'm going ahead and just go ahead and knocking an arrow. I'm knocking an arrow. I'm reaching down. I'm pulling my rangefinder out. So that's what I'm doing is I'm creeping. I get to that tree, and I'm being as quiet as I can possibly be. Mm-hmm. Get to that tree, and
it's pretty quiet in that timber in there?
Super silent, super silent.
Because that was the good part of the timber where there wasn't much downfall, but there's still a few sticks and pine needles around, but it sounds like it was pretty quiet there.
Yeah, it was nice and soft. That ground where it's like
wet,
soft,
damp, soft.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're sneaking in, you're being just so quiet. If you don't hear your own feet, you're doing something right. So it's like, I'm doing this.
You're dialed.
And I'm finally on a bear, and I'm just like, if this pans out, that's freaking killer. That's why I'm here. But it's like I enjoy hunting so much. It's like it was weird this time. I didn't get overly excited because it's like, yeah, this is a good encounter. This is great. This is definitely the bear I want to kill for sure. But I didn't get too overly excited. I kept my calm. I played it right. I took my time. I got to the tree I wanted to get to. It's like, all right, I got to take one step out, and it's just like it's slow, like hands of the clock. What you used to say, hands of the clock, slow motion. Look, and you want to put your head out there. Well, your head is pretty big, and you got to get around it enough to get your eyesight.
And you're close.
And you're close.
You're bow range now, right?
Yeah, I'm pushing 70, probably. I'm pushing 70, 75 yards is where I'm at. And what I thought was I get to that tree, and I'll probably be there, and that's a poke. But I could see him, and if he's looking away from me, why not step in front of the tree? Now all of a sudden you just took yourself from the back of the tree, which you don't have a good shot from, because you can't shoot from behind a tree. All of a sudden you're beside the tree. So you got nothing behind you, and your whole profile is up. So if he does turn, and there's a humanoid there sitting there with the bow at full draw, he's going to see you.
Okay.
So my thought is get to him, make sure he's not looking at me, and get in front of the tree. So now I got a backdrop. Now I got the tree behind me, which is killer, so you can kind of get skinny in front of the tree now. So
you snuck in front of the tree, you snuck around the side of the tree and got in front when the bear was probably looking away at this point?
Yeah, exactly. He was just chilling. Actually, to be honest with you, his nose was down, and he wasn't pointed away from me. He was just pointed like at a 90-degree angle, just like straight up from me. It was just kind of weird. Like it just.
So you just moved really slow.
Yeah.
Were you in his vision? And so you're watching his head and his mannerisms, but you're sneaking around the edge of the tree, thinking, "I get around this tree and I'm going to have a shot."
Yeah, exactly. So I get in front of this tree, and he's just chilling. He's not looking at my direction, and I don't want to take my hand off anything. I got my right hand on my rangefinder, and I'm clicking him off, clicking the tree, clicking him, clicking the tree. You know how I range. I fucking range.
You range a bunch.
Yeah, just make sure you're getting the true range, And it's a little bit dark. I mean, it's super light outside, but in that thick timber or that big timber, it's a little bit darker in there. So the rangefinder, I'm just making sure, double, triple sure I'm getting the right range. And it's like, all right, I think I ranged him. I think I was true 72 yards, first range I got, or 70. I think I was right at 70. And so, go ahead, dial to 70. That's great. I got arrow knocked. That's all. But he's just chilling. He's not even attempting to look up. So it's like, all right, well, let's sneak in a little bit more. I mean, why not? Why not gain?
And bears are a small target too.
Yeah,
the closer the better. Like I try to get inside 50 a lot of times when I'm shooting them.
Sure.
So yeah, absolutely. So you figure I can gain a few more yards on this guy.
Why not? Why not take? I mean, I got the big tree behind me. I think I can just stay in like the tree shadow type of thing that I had going, and just kind of. I mean, he's not looking at me yet. And I was thinking, well, maybe even if he does turn my way, that might give me enough time. By the time he gets up, he might stare at me for a second. So I just risked it. I just went for the risk, and I went in there. I gained some more yardage.
Super slow, I bet, with him having his head like where you're kind of in his vision, but he's not looking at you. He's looking up the hill.
Yeah.
And you're in dark timber, and you're in shadows, and so you're just moving as absolutely slow as you possibly can, every footfall, every step, just trying to gain a few more yards, because he's not looking in your direction. It's not paying attention. He's a relaxed bear, and he's not looking dead away from you, but he's not looking your direction.
Yeah, exactly. So I felt like I had a little bit of a buffer to kind of get away with a little bit of movement. I knew the wind was right. I could feel it on the side of my face. It's like, no, look, he's not going to win me. I can get closer. So I move in, get a little bit closer, and I'm just getting comfortable and getting a few more ranges. I was like, you know what? I got to a range where I just knew 100%. I was like, I know if I get a full broadside shot, I'm going to kill him. I was 100% positive I'd get that. It was kind of weird. I got in there and I got another range, and I'm getting ready to draw my bow back, and it's like, man, he's kind of bedded. It's even a tighter shot. Front legs are kind of out in front of him a little bit, and it's like super tight. It's a sweet profile shot. I mean, I know I could it's like if I do get it right in there, it's a money shot for sure. But it was just kind of weird. I'm just getting ready to draw, and he didn't bust, but he got up on all fours, which was, I was like, nah, you didn't win me. You didn't see me. You never even looked in my direction. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he was hearing some birds, or I don't even know. But he got up and he kind of took a step, and he just kind of was looking complete away from me. It's like, man, usually by this time they're seeing something, or they kind of have a bear sense. They kind of like, oh, something's weird over here, and they can kind of sense it somehow.
And they'll stare in your direction, even if you're totally holding still. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Once you get into that close range, like it almost is like they know you're there. And even if he doesn't have any idea you're there, he's like looking in your direction quite a bit. Like I remember that big boar last season that we were talking about in that meadow. And we stalked in. There was a boar and a sow, and that was a giant boar. Man, that was a good one. Yeah, and we got into range, but that bear would never stop looking in our direction in that sagebrush. And they don't see real well, but they do pick up on movement. But you're right, there's like a bear sense to him. But this bear was never looking in your direction.
No, never. It was just kind of odd. I just felt like he was totally comfortable. But he got up on all fours, and he did it pretty quick. So you know how that kind of gets you. It's like, oh, I don't want to lose this opportunity, But so I went to full draw, and he did take a step, but it's like, come on, I shoot a real fast bow. I mean, one step. What is that? Maybe a half a yard. It's like, all right. I'm so comfortable with that.
So you had a range. He took a step, and so you're saying he took a step like further from you or whatever.
Yeah,
but you don't have to readjust your sight or anything. You're within a half yard. Put your pin on him and let's let it rip.
Yeah, exactly. So which happened perfect, and it was just so cool because there's like this little ridge that he was kind of on a ridge, I would say, maybe. Just a little profiled one, and so you could see all the background. It was just epic. It was just so cool, and it was weird. I just nice and calmly went to full draw. I bubbled up. I call it bubbling up. So I always, first thing I do, I get my pin kind of on the bear or close to the bear, or where I'm seeing black or brown or wherever I'm at, and my focus is on that bubble. That leveling bubble. I just call it bubbling up. I just make sure you bubble up. Once you're bubbled up. And I shoot so much that I get bubbled up.
Well, and on hillsides, when you draw back, it is weird. Yeah. Like your bubble can be way off.
All of a sudden, you're leaning your bow like into the hillside. Like, man, this doesn't feel right.
Well, in a canted bow, if you cant your bow left, your arrow goes left. Cant your bow right, your arrow goes right. Exactly. We shoot all the time, and so this is part of your shooting routine. Is to bubble up your bow. But it is wild when you're shooting in the mountains. Sometimes you draw back your bow. Sometimes you don't even believe your level. It's showing you it's way off, and you got to lean. Drastic. Yeah, it's like you're leaning way away from the hillside. You feel like you're going to lean off the mountain. So bubble up on them. Settle your pin.
Settle up on them. I knew I had a great range. I knew, I'm shooting right now. I'm shooting this just sweet setup, and I just got this single pin. And bears are hard.
You're shooting a single mover now. You went away from the multiple pins, shooting a single mover because you just always shot your mover anyways. Don't even complicate it.
Yeah, I even dialed it up. Like, you got your pin set up 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and I always use my bottom green pin.
Your 60 is your mover.
But even if I got the opportunity, I'll move my 61 up to 40. Yes. I'm comfortable with that green. It just works for me.
So you went to one pin now.
Yeah,
I like it.
I went to one pin, so it's the only one I have to worry about. You need time to dial your sight, but the sight's so silent, you just reach up and give it a dial. It's all good, So just dial it in. And bears are weird. It's hard to see their lines. You don't get the antelope or the elk stripe. Like the color mismatch on them, like the two-tone of an animal.
Right, or the break of the shoulder. It's all hair. It's just a hairy blob.
It's a puffball.
Yep, and so you got to follow the front leg up. Yep. But you are just kind of swimming in hair, kind of guessing where you need to be. They are a tougher animal to hit exactly right.
Yeah. So it was weird. It was usually, I'm usually pretty quick. When I'm on an animal, I can settle my bow real quick. I'm really pretty quick on drawing it and settling it and letting it go. This time I don't know, I was just kind of calm. I was calm about it. It was the bear I wanted. I was super jacked, super excited, but I took my time. I remember the pin went from above his back and it just settled right down where I wanted it. And I remember just kind of doing a blink real quick. Just blink, check my bubble one more time. Yeah, look, move it back up. And I'm just like, yeah, there's his shoulder. And I just remember just kind of moving it just down away from the shoulder just a little bit. Like, I hate shooting. I mean, don't shoot the shoulder. It's just not me.
Yeah, we've
I'm away from the shoulder.
shorter draw length. We never get through
Yeah.
the shoulder, and so we've learned to aim off the shoulder.
Yep.
And I actually think you're aiming at the center of the lung, center mass.
Yep, exactly.
You know, the vitals on a deer are 8 inches. They're 8 inches top and bottom, but they're maybe 10, left and right on that deer. And so I think when you pull off that shoulder, you're actually aiming more in the middle of those vitals.
Yep.
But me and you, we can't hit a shoulder of an antelope, a white-tailed doe, a bear.
Nope.
We don't get through the shoulder. And so we've learned those tight little pocket rocket shots that you love to get, that you see. Like, and sometimes
shots.
you get those, but I'm actually aiming about 2 or 3 inches back and I end up there.
Yeah.
But it just gives you more room for error there. And so me and you have taught ourselves to aim back off the shoulder. And 3D targets, they want you to aim right on that edge of the shoulder. We just don't have enough energy, even shooting heavy arrows and fast bows. We just don't get through the shoulder. So settle your pin back. So it's important that I think you, like, when you're shooting a bow at an animal, and it's taken us years to perfect this, but that calm that you had, that calm and kind of real patient and taking your time, settling your pin, you're bubbling up, you're pushing and pulling, and you're executing a good shot. When you execute a good shot, they die.
Yeah, exactly. You know it. You know the minute your whatever your wrist strap or thumb, I shoot a thumb. The minute that goes off, I mean the second. I mean it breaks, and you just know he's done. I mean, excuse me. You just know he's done. Before, like when I was younger and I was hunting with you all the time years ago, I would get the adrenaline so much my face felt like it was on fire. My face was burning, and it kind of got me in this like panic mode. You don't want to lose this opportunity. You just worked your ass off getting all the way over here. But this time I just, I did a really good. I shot quite a few animals last year, and I made some great shots. I think I was actually 100% of my shooting last year, which is awesome. I did really, really good. I got this new setup. I'm super comfortable with it. It's super quick, nice, really 420 grain arrows. I'm shooting a really, really good, forgiving but lethal setup.
Nice.
You take a speed bow, and all of a sudden you take a speed bow and you make it into a little bit slower of a bow, but more kinetic energy. You're taking everybody talks about these speed bows and like, oh yeah, it shoots 350 whatever feet a second. Yeah, that's cool on paper, but what I do is everybody does that. I think it's rated on a 375 grain arrow, the IBO or whatever it is. I like to just do a super heavy arrow, so when it does hit them, I get that penetration.
Well, and people use kinetic energy a lot, but I think the more important equation to use is momentum energy. And the more weight of your arrow, just the more momentum it has to penetrate better in those animals. And that momentum energy, I think, is the important one. And it always works out. The heavier your arrow gets, the more penetration you're going to get. But there is a fine line there where you have to have speed, where you're not, where if you misjudge the yardage by a yard or two, you're not missing the animal. And so there is a fine line there. So so you're shooting 420, which is a great setup for Western game. Yep, plenty of speed and good momentum energy for penetration.
Yeah, so knowing this, so I go to full draw. This thing's just standing there. He's not even paying attention to me. He has no clue I'm there. And that's what every archery hunter dreams about. When you shoot something and he just doesn't even know you're there. He's not even slightly spooked. He doesn't even know what's happening. And so I'm settled in. Bubble's good, sight's good. Everything's just settled in. And I'm just pushing and pulling, and it just breaks. And it's just like, oh yeah. Well, I didn't even hear the arrow. It just zipped right to him. And I saw dirt fly on the other side of him. But I heard it hit. It was just like a whack. You could the archery kill shot, everybody calls it whack. How it is.
Sure.
So it's just killer. And he turns and he barks and he like does this like a little roar, and he's biting at himself, and he just kind of spins a couple times. Still doesn't see me.
They freak out.
Oh yeah,
them, don't they?
There's dirt flying. There's branches breaking.
Biting at the arrow.
Oh yeah. Biting at where he just got freaking stung.
Yeah, right.
So it's just like, man, he has no clue what's going on. He's hurting. he's just kind of like spazzing out, and you don't want to move. We've been on hunts where you shot a bear, and you made a movement, and all of a sudden he sees you, and he's like thinks he's wounded or think you're doing something, and then all of a sudden you got a bear looking at you. That's that's on the fight. He's instantly on the fight.
And it's intense when you stick one of those things.
And you're close to him. I mean, he could be on you in seconds.
And instantly you think, what have I done? Like,
Don't move.
Yeah, exactly.
And this, it was just so cool. It was just so cool. So let's get through what I did. So
for sure.
So he was biting himself, growling stuff. So he tries to take off, and he goes up this hill just a little ways, like 10, 15 yards, and he just kind of turns and goes back down. And I don't want to lose sight of him, so I just take a few more steps. He has no clue I'm there. He's not looking in my direction. Take a few more steps, and I get over so I can see the whole thing. I never once got my eyes off the bear. So he goes up and he comes back down. He's standing there, and I can tell he's hurting. I mean, all right, I know he's going to die. I'm 100% positive. He's not going anywhere. He's freaking hurting. You can tell his body movements, his just everything about him. He's hurting. Like it's in the lung, liver lung type of deal. I mean, I think I went through, definitely went through the side I shot. Definitely went through the lungs on that, and then maybe like down a little bit and like into the liver. I don't know, but I mean, definitely I knew it was a lethal shot. But he's standing there, and so I just get another range, and it's like, man. You know how animals are. I mean, you want it to be quick.
They're so tough. Yep.
Yeah, you want to be quick. So it's like, why not? He's there. He does no clue I'm here, and so just get a range, knock another arrow, just come to full draw. I know he's dead. My adrenaline's pumping like crazy, but I'm even calmer now because I know I got him. I know he's not going to go too far. But it's like, man, let's just put him down. Let's put him out. So just draw back, bubble up once again, and just send another one, and it just comes home, just hits him so solid. And yeah, he didn't even bite at that one. I think he just literally hit the dirt, and he tried getting up, and then that was it. It was minutes. I mean, he never got out of my sight. He was always in bow range the entire time. I mean, I got to see from the moment I first hit him to the moment he took his last breath. I mean, it was right there. It was so epic. I mean, it was just awesome. It was just such a gorgeous bear. Still had no idea it was there. I mean, he died with not knowing what was going on. Not a clue. He never looked at me, which was cool. So I must have been pretty quiet. Great wind, super quiet, just the right setup. The right terrain to hunt him in. It was just epic. So killer.
Oh, that is awesome, man! And so cool how things come together sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Just stalking through there and able to find them and make it happen. But it's all those instincts of slowing down along the way. But gosh, I don't know what I got going. I got a noise on my computer. Boy, we'll have a tough time making through this. But no, man, I'm just so happy for you. And so then we went, so that's not the end of the story. So epic bear down, really nice boar, nice mature boar for the area, big pumpkin head on him, big paws, just killer. You got a bear down. And so now it's late and I get a phone call about, right at dark or something like that.
Yeah, it was dark up in the mountain.
And you go, man, I got a bear down. It's just like right on. And so we kind of celebrated over the phone. I was done with what I had to do, and I said right on. And so we kind of made a game plan, and we said, well, let's just gut him out right now. You're way up in there.
Yep.
You've got your smaller pack on. Like we'll just go get him in the morning, gut him out, and leave him there and come down. And so you said, yeah, great. And so we kind of celebrated the back and forth there and told you congratulations, and then. So you took care of the bear, got them all gutted out, and then
got them all cleaned out, and then the action started. I mean, that's when it got just sketchy. And the full story is, I live so far, not too far away, but far enough that when I finally get off work and I'm finally ready to go, I'm so excited. I would forget my head if it wasn't attached. I turned around twice. I went all the way to Townsend, had to turn it all the way back, forgot my release, had to find it. The dog packed it out of the house. Anyways, so I'm so excited to leave, and usually I'm pretty good at it. But this time, solo hunting, which, for bears, whatever. But
well, and you got to get in the routine of remembering all your stuff, too. Like the first few days out, like it's tough to remember all your stuff. And you've been out a little bit, but it's been a while. You've been working quite a bit. So
you're so excited to go. You're so Jones.
You got this bear down. You got him gutted out, but you don't have any bear spray.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, right.
I'm leaving the house, and I got my bow, got my release, got my binoculars. I'm set up. I'm like, yep, this is what it takes to kill a bear. This is what it takes for me to survive up in the mountains. I'm good to go. Oh yeah, don't remember bear spray. Don't remember a pistol. Don't remember anything that's going to protect you or whatever. You're just going. You just got sharp sticks. Yeah, that's what you're
I would have let you borrow mine.
Yeah,
too,
if I told you about, I didn't think about it. Usually I just have it strapped to my pack. It's always on my pack. Every year I run it and it's just strapped to my pack. I got bear spray either up on my chest or on my hip belt. It's just always there. For some reason, I have yet to attach it to my pack. For some reason, I don't know why. So yeah, you're up there in the dark. I got my headlamp on. I got the bear kind of on this little sweet little hillside, not too steep, but steep enough for him to drain out. So I'm getting him all cleaned out, getting him gutted. Pull the guts away from him a little ways because I don't like having guts right next to your animal. Pull him down the hill a little ways away from it, and it's getting dark. I mean, the moon's coming up, which is nice, but it's dark in the timber. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, did I hear something? Well, it's getting dark. It's like, nah, I didn't hear something. But you're sitting right next to a bear, and you're looking into the eyes of this bear, and all of a sudden, I think I just got off the phone with you, made sure it was all cleaned up, told you I was going to do what I was going to do, and getting excited to get out of there, and I'm still on the high of getting this bear down and everything. Well, then I did hear something. I look up, got my headlamp on the brim of my hat, and I look up, and there's a set of eyes right there, in bow range, right there, looking at me. And it's like, you kind of step off the bear because I have my knife in my hand. I'm just finishing up cleaning this thing. And I got my knife in my hand, and I'm just like, that bow is behind me, 5 yards away from me. And that's all I got to protect myself. And all of a sudden, there's this predator set of eyes staring at you just right above me, 40 yards, 30, 40 yards, right above me. And then all of a sudden, it gives me one of those, like a bark at you. Then it kind of you could hear it lurch forward, I wasn't sure. I mean, obviously, it was another bear coming in, and whether it heard me, celebrating, or smelt the blood. I mean, I don't know, but it was right there. It was right on top of me. I had nothing. I mean, the bear's just right there. And I'm in Grizz country. I'm in the thickest of Grizz country. I mean, I am where people get attacked. I'm in and I got nothing. I don't have my bow in my hand. I got nothing. Plus it's dark. You got your bow in your hand and it's dark. What are you going to do?
Yeah, so sketchy.
So it's just how fast you move. It's like knife, fold the knife, put it in the pocket, grab the pack and the bow, don't even put it on, and you're out of there. I mean, I'm not running right now. So what I did, I got big. I grabbed my bow, get it above my head, but it's dark. But he can see my headlamp, and I can still see his eyes, and he's barking at me. And all of a sudden, his jaws go to snapping, snap, snap. I mean, super loud, almost echoey loud. And I'm right there, right in front of me. And so it's back off, and I start screaming at it, yelling at it, breaking branches, pretending I'm huge, And at the time, it's holy shit. I mean, I got my hair standing up, and I'm backing down this steep hill, just going for it. Trying not to turn and run. You never want to turn and run. But at the same time, you're making distance between you and him. You're yeah, if you want the bear that bad, all right, you're bigger than I am. Yeah, here he is. I'll come back. I'll fight you for it during the day. I'm not going to fight for you in the middle of the night. No way. I mean, by this time, it's after 9, maybe closer to 10 o'clock. And it's dark.
Yep.
And so it's I back out, and I'm hearing this rustling and stuff. So I feel like he's following me, and I'm just screaming. I'm just screaming top of my lungs, just freaking out, screaming, and I'm trying to not turn and run. So I'm trying to watch between me and him, but I'm on a mountain, so it's I got to watch where I'm going. So I'm turning where I'm going. Well, I grab my phone and I get the light on the phone. So I got the light on bright behind me, so I can kind of turn and the light's on, and I got the light, my headlamp down, and I'm gaining ground, just getting out of there.
Is that when I got the call here at the house?
So yeah, so I'm holy shit, just to make sure. It's I felt like I got, when we were up there, there's that little bench, that green bench, and there's that I don't know, a solid 100, 150 yards away, and it's I still have phone service. I knew if I got down any further, I'm going to lose phone service. So it's I better call somebody. I was the only person that actually somewhat has a clue of where the hell I am, I'm going to call Brian real quick. And I was I think you answered the phone with me fucking yelling at the bastard.
Yes.
And I'm freaking out. I'm yelling. it's super scary.
Dude, I could hear
it. It's panic,
Yeah,
and it's I got nothing. You know how safe you feel with just even bear spray. You just feel, at least you got something.
Yes.
At least you can pepper yourself for flavoring when it goes down. Something. At least you have something in your hand. Well, I can't see my pin. It's not like I'm going to draw my bow in the middle of the dark on something. I can hear him. I can still hear him. But I don't think he was really following me. I felt like he was, because then your mind started playing tricks on you.
Yep.
So I just let you know. I was this is where I am. This is my truck. I'm busting it down the hill. Give me a solid hour. If you don't hear from me in a solid hour, dude, you just got to come up here and find me. I don't know what to tell you. Grab something, come up here and find me.
Yep.
You know kind of where I'm at.
Well, and I didn't know whether to come up last night when I got the call.
Yeah.
I was man, I'm going to grab the shotgun with some slugs and a couple lights and come meet you up there. But it's a good thing you told me not to. You said, no, don't come up. Just give me some time to make it down to the road and down to the truck. because it's so tough to find you up
Oh,
there
yeah.
of where you actually are up on the
Yeah.
hills. There's a lot of country in there,
Yeah.
and in the daylight's one thing, but in the dark,
Yeah, you're not going to be able to see any features. I'm going to tell you to
so
look
you tell
for.
me, no, just wait for me. I'm going to call you when I get back to the
Yep.
road, when I get back in reception. Let me just do this. This is the only way it's going to work. And so you started rolling down, but sketchy walk out in the dark.
I'm a solo guy with a bow and a headlamp and a phone.
Yep.
Now I'm out of service.
And a dead bear up on the hill.
And a dead bear on the hill. I got my arms are elbow deep in blood. I just got this thing out. So I got blood all the way down to my elbow. So I'm reeking of blood and bear or whatever, and I'm getting it. I came down what I thought was going to be the shortest route to get down either to the water, to the road, somewhere where you feel like kind of safe, like humans actually travel right here, so I kind of feel a little safer.
Absolutely.
But I'm in the middle of Grizz country.
Yep, absolutely.
This is where it goes down. I'm in the middle of Grizz country. Whether that was a Grizz or a black bear, I don't know. Yeah. I heard black bears are the ones that actually snap at you. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but it was the big old set of eyes that when you put your headlamp on it and he's staring at you, it's predator eyes. They're both. I mean, he's like right there.
Enough,
he's
no
right
matter
there.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, how did I not hear a big old bear coming in? I heard nothing, and it was super silent up there. I was just cutting away, cleaning them out, just trying to do a nice clean job, taking care of everything, make sure the tags are cut, doing the normal deal. I'm not scared. I'm still on my high of being super excited about getting this bear down that I've wanted, this perfect light colored chocolate bear that I've killed all these other color phases, but I really wanted this one so bad. So I'm still just super excited. I'm talking to you a little bit, all this stuff goes down. Too dark to take pictures, whatever, but you take care of the bear, it's good, get your stick and you spread the ribs, you do all your deal. And then this goes down, and the only thing you're thinking about, your survival mode. I mean, the bear's kind of the last thing on your mind. Like, I'll find you guy tomorrow. Don't worry about it. You're already down. And so I'm going down some pretty steep embankments, and I'm just running basically. At that time, I knew I had some distance between, and it's like you're exhausted, your legs are quivering, your knees are aching. You got your little pack on you and your bow, and you're just trying to make sure you have all your stuff with you. You're getting down the hill, and you stop, and you got to catch your breath. But you're trying to catch your breath, and all you hear is your heart rate in your ears. It's just pounding in your head, and you're trying to listen. Just make sure he's not following me. Make sure he's not close. Make sure that he's not like right on top of me. And so it's like you're being quiet. You're kind of panicked. It's like, you know what? I got to calm down. I know I got hundreds of yards in between me and my bear, and let alone him. I think just making sure.
Hyper vigilant, right?
Yeah.
Looking around.
So you're on survival mode. Yep. So you're just like, all right, calm down, guy. I mean, you're good. You don't want to take a fall in this steep stuff. Let's just calm down. Yeah, that did just happen. Yeah, that I went through it. So far so good. Backed out of there, made great time getting down, and which is cool. So then I just picked my way down. I started feeling comfortable. And I get down into like where there's the thicker trees and stuff, and I'm, any little noise you just pick up on. When you're on high alert, you just pick up on everything. So I'm going at a good pace, a walking pace by this time, but a good walking pace, like moving ground. And I get down and I can see the road. The moon's come up and I can actually see the road. And I'm like, all right, I feel solid. And so I come off this little steep embankment and I see these headlights coming down, and you even feel even more better now. There's humans right there. So I get down. These guys are standing there like just a couple, they're like, man, you're hunting these things with a bow? Man, what the heck, So they're definitely rifle guys, which that's cool. They were there. They're like, yeah, we just got camp set up. And they're like, yeah, right where you're at, that hillside. We saw 2 Grizz there today. I'm like, oh, perfect. Thanks, guys. Thanks for that. I'm already kind of freaked out, but I'm super happy there's humans there. And you're like, yeah, you're covered in blood. You must have got one. Yeah, I got one with the bow. And they were really cool. And they're like, well, we came down here. Our camp's just right up the road a little ways. We came down here. We heard you yelling. It was echoing from up there. We didn't know what it was. And I'm like, no, there's another bear that came in. And I was just trying to protect myself, just yelling. I was like, dude, I so appreciate you guys coming down and checking on me. Visiting with them a little bit. You got to talk about the hunts a little bit. And we just kind of talked for just 5-10 minutes. And it was awesome. So they're like, well, we got to go down. They were meeting a buddy down below, or I believe is what they were saying. Yeah, meeting somebody down by the highway. They're like, do you want to ride? I'm like, no. I was like, I feel so much better on the road. I gathered. I'm good to go. So I get on the road and just kind of walking up the road, and I got probably a mile and a half to my truck. Totally fine, and it just worked out. It worked out good. The moment you see your truck after an epic night. I mean, I got to the truck probably at 11, probably.
Yeah,
11.
I'm sure.
And so it's 11:15, get in my truck, and then all of a sudden you start calming down, and it's like, holy cow! I almost got achy because my adrenaline was rushing so much that my muscles and my arms and my back and shoulders were kind of achy because I was so tense and like petrified up there. I mean, it was sketch.
Absolutely.
You know? It was super sketchy.
That's as sketch as it gets.
So it was good. It was just an epic hunt. I mean, just
so cool. So we went up this morning. Went and found your bear and got some good pictures, and then able to process it and get all the meat down off the mountain. We didn't run into the grizz or the black bear that you saw last night. I had my bow just in case it was a big black bear.
Sure.
But yeah, that was a really cool spot in there. So benchy and grassy and meadowy, but broken open timber. But that was just the perfect spot for bears.
I mean, you just knew a bear lived in there.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
it was too perfect not to hold a bear.
So we got that thing out. But yeah, I mean, congratulations to you. Those things are so tough to harvest. The spot and stalk, and then with archery gear is just the highest degree of difficulty. It's so tough out here out west. So just mad respect. I'm just glad it worked out. Well, and I paid you back for that bowl that you gave me the hot lead on. I gave you a hot lead, even though you went the opposite direction that I told you. But I also told you that. So, but no, just super stoked for you. You work so hard at Western game, and whether it's elk or deer or bear, you're just a really good bow hunter, and nice to see you kill a nice boar and harvest them and have it all come together. So super cool, man.
I feel like I earned it. That was a good hunt, you know, great shooting, great stalk. It just came together. You know, when it comes together, it's just like, man, it's not that hard. I mean, you know it is. I mean, how many hunts do you screw up before you even actually get it? But when it comes together, everything aligns just right. And I mean, you're just creeping up that staircase of just success, and you get there. And I mean, it's just when it works out, it just works out.
Feels like it's meant to be when it works out.
It's just kind of wild.
You
just gotta. How is it? How did he just? He set himself up. I let him make the final move. I let him do it, and I was so patient that it just worked out. I mean, it's just so
made the right moves. Instincts took over and made the right moves. But yeah, when you do it, everything comes together. It's just so cool because it can fall apart so many times, or it's tough to even get a stalk on a Western black bear color phase boar like you killed. You know, it's no easy feat. So yeah, just so stoked for you, man. Congratulations. Super cool boar, great pictures. You got some great meat, so you're going to stay here tonight and then run home tomorrow. We got it all checked in, everything taken care of. So we're good to go now. Now we just party like rock stars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Bear down. We got one more to get. I mean, it's perfect.
That's super cool, man. Really fun. Fun to be a part of it. And the one night I miss, you end up killing a bear, but it just is what it is.
Usually I can sneak you away. Usually it's like, no, I think Brian's going to come.
Well, I learned my lesson now. It's like, no way am I ever going to miss in the evening. But no, so cool and so epic and fun to go back in there today and kind of relive the story and process that bear and get him off the mountain there. So that was really cool to be a part of. But well, thanks a bunch, man. That was a really cool story. That was really fun to talk about, really fun to be a part of. Again, just congratulations. Those things are not easy.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, Brian.
Yep, right on, man.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Another episode of Eastman's Elevated in the books. Really fun one with my buddy Dan. Really want to try out this storytelling, you know, and mix these episodes in, you know, as I have success and as my buddies have success. So I want to thank Dan again for being on and sharing his story. You know, and it's just it's fun to be able to sit down with friends and share this, and it's fun to see your friends and see your buddies be successful. I mean, I've always said that I just want to make people around me better, and I want to help out friends. And so this was a good chance to help out Dan. And I've got another buddy coming in this week. He's going to stay Thursday through Wednesday, stay at the house here. I mean, I've got to work during the day, but I'll go out with him in the evenings and set him up during the days and then during the weekend. So looking forward to that. But it's just all about making those buddies and those friends and around you better hunters and sharing information and helping them out and trusting them too. And I just know that it'll come back to me twofold, you know, where I help a buddy out, and Dan has helped me so much over the years. I can't tell you, I mean, my biggest buck in Utah, he was on the ridge giving me hand signals and helped me pack it out of that hole I killed it in. And you know, all these tough hunts me and Dan have been on, I can't tell you how many times he's helped me pack animals out or helped me be successful. So, I like to help him out wherever I can, and I want to see him have success and next level success. And that extends to this podcast family. I want to see all you guys be successful. I mean, that's why I share absolutely everything that, all the knowledge that I gain and experience I gain, I share with you guys. And when I'm listening to somebody speak about hunting, I try to find those points to jump in and find, why they were successful, or to expand on what they were saying to get a better grasp of it. So it extends to you guys, and I've already got a couple messages this season from guys that have been successful on bears that listen to the podcast. And man, I mean, there's just no better feeling on earth than having you guys be successful and then share it with me. I just got one last night of a jet black bear from a guy in Anaconda, Montana, that was successful and thanked me for the podcast. And man, that is just so cool. I mean, that's what we want. I want you guys to be successful and to find success and find good hunting. Another guy hit me up the other day and said that he was not going to quit bow hunting. He was going to keep after it because of the podcast. And archery hunting is just so difficult that, I mean, I can see where guys get frustrated and I can see where guys give in. I'm a public land with archery tackle. But he said he was reinvigorated listening to the podcast and was gonna get out there more and dedicate himself to his bow and get a harvest. And I just have no doubt in my mind that he will. So just super cool sharing the story with you guys and sharing information with you guys. And like I say, it makes me feel really good when you guys reach out and say, hey, I was successful. Thanks for the podcast. So that was really cool. But yeah, thanks to Dan, man, psyched for him. Good color phase bear. I keep calling it a chocolate. I don't even think that thing's a chocolate. I think it's a cinnamon. I don't know why I'm so stuck on chocolate. Maybe because when he came home that night, he told me he stuck a light chocolate or whatever. And in different light, they look different, but that is definitely a cinnamon bear. So really nice cinnamon boar. Congrats to Dan. The sponsor for today's podcast is Zamberlan Boots. Again, guys, just super psyched with their boots that they're coming out with. They couldn't have designed a better pair for me, and they've got a bunch of different models out there for your preferences. So make sure to check out Zamberlan Boots, and thanks for sponsoring the podcast. Again, over at Eastmans, check out that e-news and subscribe to that. Just really good Western information, guys. I mean, I subscribe to it. It comes to my emails, and I open it up every time I get it and find something I can read in there. So make sure to subscribe to that. With that, boy, I'm gonna get this recording out. Got Dan's bear out, got it all checked in, had some gnarly weather come in this weekend. And one day you couldn't even see for the entire day. It was raining and snowing so hard. But the weather's cleared off. I got this afternoon. I've got a really good spot that I'm going to go to. I'm just going to keep after it here. I just want to get my chance too. I want to get this high intensity, thrilling encounter with a black bear. So I can't wait. Buddy coming in Thursday, going to hunt with him. But next night or two, I'm going to get out and see if I can't sneak an arrow into one. Spots are just heating up. Grass looks so good. So I'm just psyched. I'm going to get out tonight and go do a really good walk around. And I got a spot that I think I'm going to at least see one tonight or maybe more than one. Hopefully get a stalk. I know there's some good boars out there. So I'm just pumped. I'm going to get out hunting tonight. Buddy rolling in here soon, and just keep after it and just keep enjoying this Western lifestyle and living out west here. I'm just so fortunate for where I'm able to live and work and then be able to get this podcast off the ground and writing and everything I'm able to do in the hunting industry. So just absolutely blessed. So I hope you guys are out and enjoying the outside, getting out and doing some hunting, some fishing, some hiking, something outdoors, and working hard towards your goals. Season's coming. Can't wait for fall. So just keep working hard towards your goals, and I'll check in with you guys next week. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks as always, guys, for all the support with the podcast. You guys are great. You just you make me want to be better at this podcast and be better at this format and interviewing guests or having a good conversation with guests and pointing out the right stuff. So can't thank you guys enough for the support. Keep after it, and we'll talk to you next week.